Bear is a music store employee with one problem that's been following him his entire life. He's completely in love with his childhood friend and coworker Nikki, and he can't say a single word about it to her face. So what does he do instead? He rehearses. He's at a restaurant, running his confession speech on a worker who's agreed to play Nikki for the night, pouring out his heart like it's the final round of a competition. She tells him he's doing great. His friend Ian is watching from the side, completely unimpressed. Ian shuts it down fast. Grand gestures don't work. Gifts don't work. Pouring your heart out doesn't work. He starts pitching actual strategies. Bear half listens. That night, Bear gets home and finds his cat Sandy dead on the floor. She got into his prescription oxycodone. He buries her, goes to his room, and cries scrolling through Nikki's Instagram. Then his phone rings. It's Nikki. She's upset he canceled their plans. And while she's talking, her crystal necklace slips off and falls straight down the drain. Bear's brain immediately locks onto that as an opportunity. He heads out to find her a replacement. He can't find the necklace anywhere in the store, but something else catches his eye. A small counter display with a product labeled One Wish Willow. He picks one up and asks the cashier straight up if it actually works. The cashier tells him some people got exactly what they wanted, and some came back devastated. A few even said they wish they died rather than live with the result. Bear laughs it off, says he's not buying it for himself anyway, and pays. A few nights later, the whole group is at a pub. Bear keeps making desperate eyes at Ian to give him space with Nikki. Nikki clocks it immediately and calls him out in front of everyone. When she goes to get a drink, Bear follows. He tries steering the conversation toward his feelings. It goes nowhere. The whole friend group joins them, and the moment dies. Outside, Nikki borrows $20 from a colleague without a second thought and hands it to a homeless person around the corner. Bear watches her do it and falls a little harder. Nikki tries to get Ian to drive her home. Bear quietly offers first. In the car, she opens up to him, tells him he's the only person she can talk to about anything, that they've known each other so long, he just gets her. Then at her door, she stops. She can tell something's off with him. She asks if he has a crush on their coworker, Sarah. He says no. She says if she had a crush on someone, no one would ever know. Then right before going in, she asks him directly, does he have a crush on her? He says no, just a friend. She goes inside. Bear sits in the car alone, hating himself. He looks around and finds the One Wish Willow he bought. Opens it. It plays a tiny tune, then goes quiet. Bear looks at the house, looks at the stick, and says out loud that he wishes Nikki would love him more than anyone in the world. He snaps it. Nikki walks back out onto her porch within minutes. She crosses the yard with this strange intensity and asks if he brought something for her. He panics and says he left it at home. She comes to his window and tells him she loves him. Not casually, not warmly, in a way that has no volume control. Bear doesn't know what to do. He gently tells her to go inside. She immediately bursts into tears and tells him her father is dying of cancer. Bear, being Bear, can't leave her like that. He takes her home with him. At his place, having Nikki actually on his bed breaks his brain completely. He doesn't know where to stand. She calls him over, starts undressing, and he just stares in frozen confusion. She kisses him, then snaps backward like she saw something horrifying, shaking, apologizing, blaming it on her trauma. Bear tucks her in. He goes straight to his laptop and researches the One Wish Willow online. Reviews are split. Half say it works, half say it's fake. He talks himself into believing Nikki's just emotionally raw from her dad's situation. He goes back to the bedroom. She's already awake watching the door. He lies that he went to grab water. Morning, he wakes up alone, goes to the kitchen. His dead cat Sandy is arranged on the floor surrounded by candles and handwritten notes. At work, Ian immediately assumes they hooked up. Bear says nothing happened. While they're talking, they notice Nikki across the room staring at Bear with a fixed smile that has no reason behind it. Bear tells Ian about the cancer story. Ian says she's probably on something. Don't take it seriously. After work, Bear expects Nikki to walk out with him. She picks up her bag and leaves with Ian. Bear calls Ian later for an update. Ian says she seemed completely fine. Nothing off about her. Right as he hangs up, someone knocks on Bear's door. It's Nikki. She tells him she took something to cope with her dad's situation, and that's what caused the strange behavior. She apologizes, and then she tells him she knows he likes her, and she feels the same way. Bear smiles. He had no idea. What follows are genuinely good days. They're together, warm, easy. Their co-workers notice. Their friends are jealous. It looks like everything worked out. Then at dinner one night, Bear brings up her dad. Nikki shuts it down completely. His phone rings. Ian. He ignores it. Ian calls again. Bear steps away and answers. Ian has looked into the cancer story. It was a lie. All of it. Bear walks back to the table and confronts her. Nikki doesn't apologize. She snaps, tells him to stop ruining their evening. Bear backs down in public, tells her the reason doesn't matter. He still loves her. They go home together. At 3 in the morning, Bear wakes up and Nikki isn't in bed. He calls her name. She answers from the dark corner of the room where she's been standing. He tells her to come back to bed. She refuses, crying that he doesn't really love her. He tries to wait it out. She screams. She comes back from the corner holding a flower vase against her face. He's terrified, asking what's wrong. She puts it down and lies next to him. When he tries to leave, she screams at him to stay. Morning. His hair has been cut while he slept. She did it. He tells her not to do that. She says, okay. She hands him a lunchbox she made, cheerful as if nothing happened. He tries to have a serious conversation. She makes a face so unsettling, he goes completely silent. Then he finds the front door taped shut. He fights his way out. Looks back. She's standing in the middle of the room, smiling, urinating where she stands. At work, Bear opens the lunchbox. Inside is a photograph of him sleeping. His coworker Sarah starts to comment on how suddenly he and Nikki became a couple. Their manager shows up mid-conversation to give Sarah a letter, a rejection from the school she applied for. Bear comforts her, then Sarah finds a paperclip in the lunchbox with a note. Guess the verdict, and a drawing of a cat. Bear looks at the meat he's been eating. He connects it. He throws up immediately. On the drive home, Ian is in the car and voices his suspicion that Bear is taking advantage of Nikki's mental fragility. Bear insists everything is fine. Ian casually mentions he's throwing a party and that Bear isn't on the list, specifically because Nikki can't be there. He eventually says Bear can come, but he has to come alone. After dropping Ian off, Bear calls the Wish Willow customer service line. He explains everything and asks if there's any way to reverse the wish. The man on the line says no. Bear asks what his options are. The man says one of them has to die for the wish to break, then hangs up. Bear gets home and finds Nikki on the floor in the hallway. She's been sitting in that spot all day waiting for him, in a state that's difficult to look at. He gets her cleaned up, confronts her about cooking Sandy, and then tells her Ian's party is a boys-only night. Nikki refuses to stay home. She is going. At the party, everything holds together until someone suggests truth or dare. Ian makes a harmless joke about Bear. Nikki laughs, but the laugh doesn't stop where it should. It gets louder, higher, stranger. The whole room freezes. When it's Nikki's turn, she reads her prompt in a low, wrong-sounding voice and narrates a story that makes everyone deeply uncomfortable. Bear draws a block saying he has to kiss the person on his left. Before anyone processes it, Nikki shoves Sarah's chair out of the way, leans over Bear, and kisses him in front of the group. Then she turns to the room with a smile and tells everyone, lightly, that they will die if they ever come between her and her love. Ian asks if she's okay. Nikki seizes up, grabs a bottle, and starts beating it against her own face until she's bleeding. Bear rushes her to the hospital. They refuse to admit her. Back home, Bear asks her why she did it. She says Sarah likes him and she needed to send a message. Bear tells her she's too beautiful to act this way. He asks if she actually likes watching him suffer. She smiles and says yes. He tells her she needs to go home. They need space. She drops to her knees crying, saying she can't be anything without him telling her to. Then she walks backward into the dark corner of the room. Bear is screaming. She tells him not to be scared. She would never hurt the person she loves. But if he ever leaves her, she will do something terrible. That night, Bear can't sleep. A text from Sarah lights up his phone. She says she has something important, and if he doesn't come to her, she's coming to him. Bear waits for Nikki to fall asleep, then slips out of the house and drives to the park. Sarah is in her car. She tells him Nikki needs professional help. This is beyond what Bear can manage. Then she confesses her feelings for him. He doesn't run from it. She reaches into her bag to show him a letter she's been carrying, and Nikki appears. She shatters the car window, drags Sarah out, and beats her face into concrete until she's unrecognizable. Then she turns to Bear and tells him calmly that this is his fault. Now he has to help her hide the body. He does. Alone in his car after, Bear opens the letter Sarah never got to show him. She'd been accepted into the art school she applied for. The one her manager told her that afternoon was a rejection. That letter was wrong. This was the real one. Bear breaks down completely. He goes back to the store and asks the new cashier for any remaining Wish Willow cards. He needs to reverse his wish. The cashier shows him what's left. Bear tries every single remaining card one by one. None of them snap. Each person only gets one wish. His is spent. He goes straight to Ian and explains everything. Ian doesn't believe him. Bear produces the last card and tells Ian to make a wish himself, just to prove it's real. Ian, still skeptical, wishes for $1 billion. Money starts falling from the sky. Ian stares at it. Bear watches him, completely empty. Bear gets home. Nikki has built a shrine in the living room. Her own photos, candles, all of it arranged deliberately. Sarah's mutilated body is sitting upright in a chair in the corner. Nikki is around the corner, covered in blood, holding a gun, screaming about whether Bear actually loves her. She walks toward him, demanding an answer. Ian walks through the front door at the exact wrong moment. Nikki shoots him dead without pausing. Then she makes Bear scream that he loves her. He does. She hugs him. Bear walks to the bathroom. He tries to shoot himself. His hands won't do it. He finds a bottle of pills left behind by his grandmother and swallows a fistful. He sits on the floor. Then the Wish Willow starts ringing and snaps on its own. He tries to purge the pills. It's too late, because Nikki found one of the cards first. She made her own wish before he ever got to the bathroom. She wished for Bear to be obsessed with her, the mirror image of what he'd done to her. Both wishes collide at the same moment. They share one last kiss. Bear collapses. He's gone. Nikki screams. She tries to end her own life, and then it lifts. The trance, the obsession, all of it, and she snaps back into herself. She looks at the room. Bear on the floor, Ian, Sarah, the shrine, everything she did. She understands all of it at once. She falls apart, and the credits roll.